But yeah, it's kind of a struggle in the summer for sure because we have rainy season. We have a lot of typhoons and everything.
I'm gonna check and see if Mario's coming on.
Oh, I know you said you were going to pull some images,
I was gonna
I
let you share yours
yeah, yeah.
since most of them were on, yeah, Instagram.
Okay,
You'll be in control.
okay.
This image, taken with the Hubble Space Telescope, shows a distant galaxy located in the constellation Fornax. It is the largest and one of the most complete Einstein rings ever discovered. This object's unusual shape is the result of gravitational lensing. Albert Einstein, in his general theory of relativity, first theorized that a large gravitational field could act as a lens. A huge amount of matter, like a cluster of galaxies, creates a gravitational field that distorts and magnifies the light from distant galaxies that are behind it, but in the same line of sight. The effect is like looking through a giant magnifying glass. In this case, the light from the background galaxy was distorted into the curve we see by the gravity of the galaxy cluster sitting in front of it. The near exact alignment of the background galaxy with the central elliptical galaxy of the cluster, seen in the middle of this image, has warped and magnified the image of the background galaxy around itself into an almost perfect ring. To get this clear an image of the far distant galaxy on its own, Hubble's 8-foot primary mirror would have to have a diameter of 157 feet. Objects like these allow us to research galaxies that would otherwise be too faint and distant to see in such detail, helping us learn more about our amazing universe.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Scott Roberts from Explore Scientific and the Explore Alliance. And here you are back once again with Focus on Astrophotography with Ross Ferguson. Ross, who do we have on this week?
Well, we have an up-and-comer to the astrophotography field, a new member of the mothership, Joshua Carter. An awesome dude. He's in Japan right now, but he comes from our territory back in Arkansas. I just found that out this morning. So I am really happy to welcome Mr. JC Astrophotography on the show.
Hey, man.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here, Joshua. Real quick, before we get started and see some of these awesome photos that were just highlighted on Astroforum, I will want to tell our passengers that we have been getting so many new members aboard the mothership that we hired 2 awesome new people. We've got Jesse the Jubilant and Wade the Wise, and they're going to be welcoming everybody on board. We are really happy, so give us a call, talk to them. Wade, he will definitely help you find your seat, and Jesse, she's going to make you smile as you're getting to it. We do hope that Mario Richter comes on. He's supposed to come on, but as you know, this sometimes it's hard to get everybody connected. So if he comes on later, great. If not, we have the man of the hour, Mr. Joshua Carter. And I'm going to go ahead and let you take it away, Joshua.
All right, yeah.
Great spot because I know a great girl took you over. And so let's show the passengers some of these awesome photos you're getting.
Yeah, sure. Here, let me share my screen. Well, first, I just want to say thank you for having me and everything. So let me share my screen here. I'll just share my desktop. Oh, sorry, shameless plug for my Instagram.
That's cool.
No, that's why we're here.
We should probably also talk a little bit about what got you started in astrophotography.
Yeah, here. Well, I'll pull up this first image first, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Yeah. So when I was younger, like most budding astronomers, I saw I was watching PBS one day, and Cosmos came on the TV, and from that day I was hooked, thanks to Mr. Carl Sagan. And when I was growing up, my family really wanted me to kind of question everything, so I think I naturally leaned towards science and different things. I grew up fascinated by the Hubble telescope and the images that it captured. I would just look through the galleries, and when I would go to the library, I would look through the books for hours. It was just so amazing that those things are real.
Hey, Josh, sorry to interrupt. Your screen is just frozen. So sometimes if you just stop sharing and reshare, we'll get it back going again.
Okay, here. I'll try that again. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's really what got me interested in space in the first place. But really, what got me into really what is that better? Is this better now?
It's beautiful.
Okay. What really got me into astrophotography, I think, is seeing people on YouTube. Sometimes the YouTube algorithm will really help you out sometimes. I think, like a lot of really young, new people to the hobby, I think a lot of people get started because of people like Trevor Jones, like Astro Backyard, or Chuck's Astrophotography. They see these people on YouTube and they go, wow, these people are capturing these amazing pictures from their yard and really light polluted places.
Yeah.
So I really started to get interested before I moved to Japan, actually. But at the time, as we all know, astrophotography is kind of expensive. So at the time, I didn't really have the funds. But when I moved to Japan, I had the ability to save up some money, and I made all the wrong mistakes and got all the wrong gear. But I think that was a good learning experience. I started out with just a DSLR and a really basic tracking mount. I started out with so in Japan, they're called KISS X5. But it's
that sounds way better. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 600D. It's an old, but it's good, man. So so I started out with that. In Japan, when you think of Japan, it's big cities like Tokyo or Osaka, or it's just lights. But so there are some really nice places. There are some gems up in the mountains that are just beautiful. And speaking of DSLRs, I'll go ahead and share this image this is one of I think the third image I captured from here in Japan.
Whoa, that's your third image.
So this image here of the Orion Nebula, I captured. It's a Bortle 3 location, and I captured this with just a stock DSLR. It's not modified, and a 300 millimeter lens. It's cropped a little bit because I had some vignetting and I didn't know about flats. But this was one of my first images, and I was really proud of it. And I shared it on my Instagram, and it was featured on a few places, and that's where it really got started. I was like, wow, I can take these pictures.
Yeah, you're of the first picture, and you're up there with the big boy. So that's awesome.
Well, like I said, I studied from YouTube and different things for a long time before I moved here and got into it. So, but yeah, man, this and dark skies help, So, but after I got the DSLR and everything, and I was like, oh man, I can take these pictures. But then I tried taking a picture from my house, and I was like, I don't think that's going to work. So I got a dedicated astrophotography camera. I decided to take the leap from a DSLR straight to mono. It was a huge learning curve. But just I remember the first image I really tried to picture from my house was, so I live in around a Bortle 5, Bortle 6, but if I point anywhere to the north, it's basically Bortle 7, Bortle 8 because of the city. So the first thing I tried to capture from my house was NGC 7000, the North American Nebula. And I got some red in there, and I got some detail because I was using a UHC filter, but man, it just wasn't good. So once I got the dedicated astronomy camera, so I bought the ZWO 1600 Pro camera, and I bought it with the filters and everything. And I remember the feeling of getting that first H alpha sub of the North American Nebula, and it was just, wow, that is amazing. But yeah, man. It's
really wild what a monochrome camera. It's wild.
For anyone who is who is on the fence about going monochrome, do it. It's such a good investment. You will not regret it. It's a lot more work for a much better product.
Yes.
But yeah,
Yes.
man, so speaking of that camera and everything, this image of the Jellyfish Nebula I took with the ZWO 1600 and just the ZWO filters. At that time, I was using the ZWO filters. There's a little bit of color cast here in the background, and I think that's kind of a direct, it's because of the filters. They're 7 nanometer, which when you're surrounded by LED lights, sometimes that light still comes through. So it's a little bit hard. And back then I wasn't using PixInsight or anything like that. So I didn't really know about background extraction and all that. I really need to go back and reprocess this data sometime. But this is actually around 24 hours of data.
Okay.
So it took a lot to get just this from the city. So and then, but I also really wanted to show.
So are you still using the 1600, Joshua?
Yeah, so I use the 1600 here in the city. I really want to get the 2600. I think it's it's the
Fantastic.
future. It's amazing. Yeah, man, I'm speechless when I see images with it. But I still get really good quality out of the 1600. I think if you're interested in getting into the hobby with mono, I think the 1600, it's a lot cheaper now because of the new cameras. So I think that's still a good option. It's a little hard. The micro lensing and everything is a little annoying on bright stars, but other than that,
your stars look good. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I did a lot of editing around the two bright stars here. So,
yeah. Okay.
but I also use the 294 MC camera. I use that a lot when I go to darker skies because I usually only get to go for 1 or 2 nights, and since it's in the mountains, you never know when the fog is going to come up and ruin your night. And I figured going with a color camera would be really good for when I go to those Bortle 2 or Bortle 3 sites. So I have a picture that I took actually.
Well, yeah, Josh, I'm with you there. I've heard that a color camera really gives the benefits at a dark site.
Yeah, for sure.
Have the time, 4 or 5 nights out there of good skies, and a color camera. Color camera is super easy, and it can still get you fantastic shots.
Yeah, of course. And like you said, I mean, the dark skies really help. You don't have to really worry about any gradients or anything unless you're fighting the moon. But yeah, man, it's the color cameras they're great. I was kind of hesitant to buy one, but because I was using a monochrome camera for a long time. But once I got it, and I went to, I actually got it before the summer, and in summer in Japan, it's just typhoons and clouds and rain all summer. So I actually didn't get my first light with the color camera until August. So, and I bought it, I got it back in March. So, but this image of M31 of the Andromeda Galaxy, I took with my 294 MC camera from Bortle 3. It's the top of a mountain here in Wakayama, and it's about 2 hours away from my house. So
that's beautiful.
And there's no H alpha or anything, and you can actually see some of the just a little bit. This is around 3 hours of data. I took it before the moon came up because I never get to go to dark skies during new moon. So it's around 3 hours. And over to the side here, I don't know if you can see my mouse. I'll use this little thing.
Yeah, you can see it.
Over to the side here, you can actually, so around M31, there are some great pictures recently of people showing the hydrogen alpha and the IFN around M31. And it's so amazing. And over to the side here and around the galaxy, you can actually see some of that IFN. If I would have gotten some more data, I think I would have been able to capture a lot more. But there's no H alpha or anything in this image. It's just strictly RGB data. And I really didn't have to color balance it too much because it's from a dark sky site.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of dark skies. I didn't have to do much. The only
So when you say IFN, you mean the Integrated Flux Nebula?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
I think recently there was an APOD where I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, but the gentleman he captured it over like something like 2 or 3 years, something crazy like that. And he captured RGB for the galaxy, and then O3 and HA around Andromeda, and it's just wild. There's so much going on there. But when you just take RGB data, you usually can't see that because it takes so much time. But just from 3 hours, I should say this is using well, in Japan we buy them as Samyang, but the Rokinon 135 f2. This was taken at f2, and it's only 60-second subs, and it's 3 hours.
Okay. I was wondering, it looked like the field of view was pretty big for your 70 millimeter.
Yeah. So the jellyfish here was taken with the 70 millimeter. There's a little bit of a crop to get rid of the stacking artifacts and everything, but this is basically the field of view you'll get with the 70 millimeter. The 135 is really, really great if you want to. It's a really good travel companion. Yes. You can take it with you everywhere. And this, like I said, the Orion is just taken with a 300 millimeter L lens from Canon. So, I mean, you can do great astrophotography for beginners. You can do really, really good things with the equipment you have. Sometimes you have to stop your lenses down, and that's fine. Just stack on the data, and you can get really good stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's great, Joshua. What anything you're working on now?
So because of the weather, I haven't really had a chance to go out. So I've just been doing some lunar photography and some planetary imaging, mainly just viewing. In July, I got an Edge HD 8-inch, and it's the 9 1/4 would have been great, but in Japan, we have to import a lot of things, so they can get pretty pricey. But the 8-inch is wonderful. With a 2 times Barlow, I can resolve most of the planets pretty well. I use the 290 mm monochrome camera from ZWO for my imaging, and I also do some electronic assisted astronomy with it, just doing live stacking of some different things. I recently did the Ring Nebula, which was really cool to be able to see it just live stacking, and M27 as well, just live stacking with different things.
Well, do you show your students these photos?
Yeah, so I'm always really excited to show. So the school I teach at, we have adult students as well as really, really young students. But I'm always really excited to show them. They're always like, "Oh wow, kirei kirei," which means beautiful in Japanese. They're like, "Oh wow, it's amazing." But I'm like, you don't know.
Hey, it is to them.
There's some questions. Right. There's a couple of questions from people in our audience. One of them is Norm Hughes, watching on YouTube, would like to know what kind of software you're using for post-processing.
So yeah, I started out using Photoshop, which I took an art class in college, and we got it for free. So I'm still using Creative Suite, but I don't have to pay a subscription, so that's great. But
that's awesome. Yeah, I
use Photoshop a lot. I recently got into PixInsight, and it's amazing. I think PixInsight is more of a scientific way to edit your data. I will say that I have a love-hate relationship with PixInsight. I really like the idea.
Me too.
I really love the idea of StarNet, but I don't know if surely you guys have heard of the what is his name? He makes extensions for Photoshop.
Chuck would know. He'll be back on soon. But
the really famous one is Gradient Exterminator, Uh, he recently made a new extension called Star Exterminator, which doesn't leave any artifacts in your image, and it is amazing. I downloaded the trial recently, and it is amazing. But yeah, I use PixInsight.
So you heard it here first, Star Exterminator for
yeah,
thank you,
it's a game
Josh,
changer
for that.
Okay.
But yeah, so but yes, to simply
So-
answer your question, yeah.
Another
PixInsight.
question is from Beatrice Hines. She's also watching on YouTube.
Beatrice.
She is experiencing a problem with tight rings around stars. This is, they appear after denoising. Any comment?
So, I think so. Usually, I think anything with your stars, it could be that you're just using a little bit too much denoising, or maybe depending on which editing software you're using. I know that if you run deconvolution a little bit too hard, it can put some really bad artifacts around your stars. So I would
on the noise removal, I would get it down to about a 70, a 70 or maybe lower. It definitely can leave those. I experience that all the time. You want to take out as little noise as you can, Beatrice. So it's not taking out too much of that extra stuff, or things it shouldn't. So try lowering your maybe the tolerance, the amount of noise you're taking out. I can't recall on the drag down on the denoise, but it's the amount, the percentage you remove, and a lot of the times it's just set at 100, and you can drag that back a little bit, and that should help. That should help.
Beatrice says, yes, I've used deconvolution in PixInsight with the Easy Processing Suite.
Oh yeah, the Easy Processing Suite is godsend. Yeah, I can't really think of. I would maybe question what kind of scope and setup you're using. I know when I was using my camera lenses, or like my first telescope, if I had a lot of like fringing around my stars, whenever I would go to do noise reduction or anything like that, it would leave some artifacts around my stars, especially out. Yeah, that does sound. I would have some rings around my stars. So I maybe have an image somewhere that I can.
I run into that a lot with deconvolution too.
Yeah.
And
Beatrice, maybe you could do this. Why don't you email the image to me? I'll give you my email address. And then we can look at it. I can share my screen, and then we can have some comment here.
Okay. Yeah, and Beatrice, even even right after stacking the fit file, or the TIFF file that you stack to, you can send it over our way, and we'll play around with it and see if we experience the same things on a deconvolution too. I love playing with data, especially when I don't have to do the work to get it. So we love that.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, yeah, Josh, I think it's great we got you on. It just kind of coincides again with our recent acquisition and our selling of these Vixen products that we're so excited about. And taking them to the mountains. That's what I want to do with the 55 FL. I want to on my backpack and go climb up somewhere and get some good shots. So they've got really good small star trackers and a lot of really light things. I know Snow Peak is a great outdoor camping backpacking brand from Japan that I love to use frequently as well. They make great products, and we can't wait to get them here. How long have you been in Japan?
I'm coming up on 2 years.
Coming up on 2 years. All right. All right. Well, keep taking great shots and keep inspiring those kids and those adults, and keep doing what you're doing, man. We appreciate you being on, and you're welcome to stay on and for as long as you want and to give comments, because because we certainly need it. We have just had so much work going on. Our first mate is going to have to continue to stay in another section on the mothership and get that cam astronomy and that wide field view that he's working on and get it ready. We can only be in one place at a time. So, and hopefully we will get Chuck back for some constellation crunching. I know everyone really misses that. I know you missed that, Beatrice. Our Chuck's constellation crunch was super fun. So I'll try to do it. I'll try to do a little constellation crunching today. And as we remember, time really isn't an issue for us. Once we're on board the mothership, we can see 500 million years in the past. And with that micro lensing effect that image that Scott showed us that's recent from the Hubble, who really even knows? So we're going to go back to the constellations of Babylon and go back to the Babylon times. This morning I was driving to work and I saw this little deer with some antlers just popping out, and autumn is here. It's coming, and it's like a second spring. All these new flowers are starting to bloom, and so we definitely want to take a picture of those flowers getting bloomed. And one of the constellations back in Babylon times was the stag. And if you look now, you're not going to find the stag anywhere, but it's still up there. And it's in Cassiopeia and part of Andromeda. And the stag is really associated with the sun and winter. So we are getting into the cold. And by the time the stag gets to the east, it's going to be pulling that sun back up. It's going to be rekindling the fire. And we just remember that it doesn't matter where you are at in time, where you're at in the world, everybody puts our stories up there. And so we did a little constellation crunch of Babylon, and that's pretty fun because at story time, when we get there eventually, we'll talk about Alexander the Great. And he went back into Babylon 2,300 years ago, almost to the day. October 4th, I think it was, which also coincides with the Staten River Star Party that everybody needs to go to with Chaos Astronomical Observation Society. We talked about that on another show, and he really wants the captain to come, but the captain, we are flying the mothership. We can't get that far away. But so October 4th through the 10th, Staten River Star Party in Virginia. It's going to be awesome. I really wish I could go and get that endless cup of coffee. And we told you all last week, and I'm really glad that Joshua helped us out with it. We told you all that we were going to do our first steps, and Joshua's first step. Now he said he did all the wrong steps, but look where he's at now. So he couldn't have gone down the wrong path. But so we've got a little DSLR. It's a D3000. You might find one of these in a pawn shop for $50-$60, and that's what I did. So we've got this one here, and it's really all you need. So but how do you get this? How am I going to take a picture with this guy? What you always do is you head over to explorescientific.com. You just in that search bar, just type camera adapter. You're going to find one of these because we've got them in stock right now. This one's for a Nikon. Whatever camera you got, we're ready. And it's super easy to put these things on. Boom, there we go. Put this in. Boom, here we go. This is just a little T adapter, so it goes into your compression chamber on your telescope. And voila, with your $50 pawn shop DSLR. What was it called? The KISS X7?
There is a KISS X7, but I have the KISS X5.
Okay, well, or your KISS, just a little KISS, and we will get that hooked up. We've got these adapters. Here we go. We've got them at explorescientific.com, and you'll be ready to go and start taking pictures with your DSLR. Now, this one it doesn't have I can't connect to my cell phone. I don't have the cord, so I'll press it, and then you got to have that delay because you're going to shake it a little bit when you press it. And so give yourself a little delay, spend some time out there, and see what you can get with just this. I'll show you real quick. Let's see. Let me pull this up. I'll show you real quick one little picture I got with it, and then we'll tell you what. Maybe. I always have problems here. Here we go. Here it is. Okay. Go to share screen. Okay. So can you all see? This is the double cluster fun. Double cluster fun is what I called it on AstroBin. Double cluster fun, and it's in Perseus. Now, visually, people really consider this one of the most beautiful things that you can look at in the sky, and I certainly cannot disagree with that. It's two beautiful star clusters just right next to each other. I believe relatively young stars. But that was taken with this camera, with this, cheapo nothing camera. And, it's not a great image, but your first images aren't going to be great. And you're still going to love them. And you're still going to show your friends. And your friends are still going to say, whoa, that's incredible. So we've got this camera now. And this camera, it's not going to belong to me because I thought if I were to show all the passengers my journey with the DSLR, well, I've already gone down the path. I'm already too far away. I'm not going back through all the thorns and that narrow trail. And I'm not going to do it. But if you all remember from a previous show, we have a new member on board. He's called Star Hunter. Some of y'all might know him as Orion. A little 10-year-old kid. He's going to be getting this camera. And he's going to be plugging it up into a telescope just like this guy. And we'll see how he makes it. And we'll see how he goes along the journey. And I can't wait to share some of his images. And I'll get to meet him someday in the future. That will be a lot of fun. So it is these first steps. And we are trying to take our first steps because astronomy can be pretty confusing. On our first video here today, the captain showed us the Einstein, what was it called?
Einstein's ring.
The Einstein's ring and gravitational lensing. And I can't help it. When I think of an astronomer, I think of some dude that looks like Einstein. I think of white hair and just old and really smart and, somebody that I can't be, or maybe not even want to be. I don't know what comes to your mind when you think, what's your archetypal picture, Joshua, of an astronomer?
I think of someone who looks like Carl Sagan.
Someone who looks like Carl Sagan.
Mm.
Yeah. It is. Yeah,
very
go ahead.
Well-spoken, just very well spoken, but has had a little bit too much coffee.
Very fast. Yes.
As opposed to somebody that's had too much to drink, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We all slew too hard every once in a while, but we are taking those first steps, and we are really wanting everybody to get on board, and so you can do it with this, and you can take great pictures, even some of the best, like Gotthard Strum in Germany, and Mario Richter, who I wish was here. I'm texting him right now. He's having internet problems. And let's see, I will tell you, there are internet problems going on right now in Finsterwald, Germany, and it's very frustrating. But like astrophotography, everything can be very frustrating. Getting everything to work correctly. It's not the easiest thing in the world, is it, Joshua?
No, it's I think it's 70% frustration, 10% editing, and then the rest is ooh, wow, look at my picture.
Ooh, wow. Yes. Yeah, well, as John Hayes told us in the last episode, it's all about that patience and perseverance. And so we will persevere. And so what we're doing here now is we are realizing that, there is all these people, they are ready to board, they are ready to look up and take Hubble images, or just look up and see what they can see, because they are, they've seen it all, everything on the TV, it seems like they've seen everything on the radio, they've heard, and they're ready to look at something else. And so we are creating, my man Noah and I, we are working together here to create a way to get you the best eyepiece, or the best first camera, or your best first telescope. And we're going to try to make it really easy and straightforward for how you get to board the ship. Because, Noah told me, he said, I don't care if 2 people board, one person can just board. You don't have to come on 2 by 2. It really doesn't matter whether you are going to explorescientific.com and you board that way, or whether you're coming down from the Ecuadorian highlands and you've just entered the jungle of products, that's Amazon. It really doesn't matter how you board. Our products are everywhere, and you can find them just about no matter where you're at in the world. Thanks to Bresser.de, who I was going to speak more about today. Unfortunately, we're going to have to jump past that, and but we could still talk. We still talk a little bit about our great friends over in Germany, because of course, you guys let me down a little bit, passengers, because Marcel Dreschler, he did it again. I was really hoping somebody else was going to do it. I was really hoping somebody else was going to make a discovery. And so here, just a few, I think it's been.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And
what object is this, Ross?
It's I don't know the name. And Marcel can figure that one out, but it was something that had never been seen before until 9 days ago. And so it's happening all the time, guys. It's just only one person seems to be the guy discovering it. So come on, passengers. We are ready. We are ready for you to stick your camera up there and to capture something like this that no one else has seen. And so we're going to get you jogging down that path of astrophotography, and you can play with a DSLR. You can use your cell phone. We've got cell phone adapters. But we're not going to get anywhere without the patience and the perseverance. So we are looking forward to our Star Hunter. We're going to have some new images taken from this camera here pretty soon. And I will share, even though Mario couldn't make it on, I'll share some from Mario. I've already shared some of his pictures because he's a good friend of mine. But next time, maybe next week, I'll give you all a little taste of what's to come. And I really like, I think this, I'm not sure, but pencil nebulas, straight lines, they are really fascinating to me. This is one of Mario Richter's photos. Now he travels quite a bit taking these photos. I know he's taken photos from his backyard in Germany. He's taken photos from the Southern Hemisphere. This is Omega Centauri. I wish that star cluster was available to us. I think he took this photo from the Golan Heights. This is the new NGC 772, and I think it's fantastic. There are just galaxies hiding around all over the place back here. And that's what you will see in all of your photos. Even with the DSLR, you will be shocked at all these little galaxies hiding back there that you didn't know existed. And many of them just are called PGK or they don't have names. So anytime you'd like to give them a name, that's what we do on this show too. let's see if I have any more from Mario. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This is also to kind of commemorate Josh coming on the show, commemorate Vixen coming on board. This is the southern Pleiades that Mario took a shot of, and here
How many background stars there are. It's
oh,
crazy.
yes. Sorry to jump off that, but this is our Pleiades, and this is Japan's Subaru. And so please, passengers, it's starting to come up. Right now, you kind of have to stay out pretty late for it, but last night I woke up early and went outside, and there was. It is such a sight, even with just your eyes. The Pleiades Subaru is a phenomenal spot to look at. One game, I know we get a lot of people wanting to buy telescopes for their kids or for their grandkids, and one game I love to play is I'll get the, let's say I get the RA axis on Pleiades. Well, then I'll take the declination, I'll move it over to the right, I'll move it over to the left, and then I'll tell my niece, hey, when you get to Pleiades, stop and let me know. And if you have to ask whether you are on the star cluster or not, then you're not there. If you have to ask, you're not there. And kids love it. Kids love it. They want to ask, and then they think, oh no, it can't be that if I'm not sure. And then they get there and they know it. And there it is. It is such a phenomenal spot in the sky. So passengers, take a picture of Pleiades for me. I want to share it. I want to share everybody your images of Pleiades. Subaru. It is the logo on at least the most popular car in Fayetteville and in Colorado and lots of places. Great cars, great spot in the sky, and Vixen with some great telescopes that we can't wait. So take a picture of Pleiades, put it up. I'll select a winner, and we'll figure out something to do for you. We will certainly figure out something and have some fun with it. And so, guys, I do have,
Someone wants to know if there's a small galaxy to the right of the Pleiades there.
Okay, I am so glad you asked, and I wanted to ask Mario about this. I had never seen, and right when I first was zooming in, I was thinking this has got to be some smudge.
What is that in the middle? There's 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, and I was hoping to get Mario in. I mean, here, this is the galaxy. But I wasn't able to compare it with some other great images of this area. And so
5. Look at that on the other to the left.
I'm completely at a loss.
Underneath the star. I don't know if that's nebulosity or that's galaxy.
Yeah, it is
6.
odd. So I was hoping he would explain this to us. But if you look up there, maybe you're going to see that too. I haven't. I hadn't seen it previously, but it is fascinating, and there's always something new to see and new to find out. And so, guys, passengers, we are going to have we're going to expect a little more from you now. We're going to need your questions. So thank you guys for asking questions earlier on the show. We're going to need them because, as you know, our rope maker, he's going to appear momentarily and wrap us back up and hold us together. And First Mate Gillis, he's going to come on when he can. But we're going to really need you and your communication, your interaction, and your good spirits, your pictures to be sharing to make this a show. We really need y'all, passengers. James Brown told us, if you don't work, you can't eat. And I know most people on this ship are very generous. So, we will share our food with you. But if you can, send me your pictures. Let's really make this a show. And so it takes us now to Story Time with Ross. And we'll get it. This show is probably going to end at 5 o'clock now, like it should every time. Fingers crossed. But so story time today, I brought us with the Babylonian galaxy, or the Babylonian constellation, the Stag. And story time today. I really wanted to talk about Kent's story that I referenced in last week, because it's Little League baseball and it's really good. But something just was too incredible that I have to talk about. So it's inspired by Alexander the Great, and that's all I can really call him, Alexander the Great, because I think his real name, it might have been lost to history somewhere. Something like, what's that called? Tribal knowledge, right? That we lost some of that tribal knowledge, and
Tribal knowledge, yes.
Yeah, and that was another thing that came that I learned about this week as well. But we're not going to lose any more of that tribal knowledge. We are, but we're still going to call him Alexander the Great because he is Mr. Great, and I'm not going to be able to share you the exact knowledge, but I will charge you for it when you send your telescope in for me to fix it. And but I will tell you, last week we learned the first rule of the mothership, and that was to not look down. And Mr. Great, he gave me the second rule of the mothership. So let's get into that, because I was banging stuff around back there. I had one of the guys from the officer's cabin, he came down and he looked at me like, "What are you doing?" I'm trying to fix this. I don't know how to fix it. And I was looking for ways to solve a problem, and I had my buddies, we were helping, we could not. We got straps, we got all this stuff, and we could not solve our problem. And our solution, it kept hitting a snag. We didn't know how to do it. We knew what had to be done, but we didn't know how. And I tried my best to stay out of the officers' cabins, because their work is way more important. And I don't want to interfere with this mothership flying. I just want to put some sails up and help us go a little faster. So I try to stay out. I know I am just an annoyance. I always just problem after problem after problem. And so I was tiptoeing. There's nothing else we can do. We have spent way too much time trying to fix this problem, and there is nothing else I can do. So I'm tiptoeing over to Mr. Great's office, and I peek my head in, very nervous. And I say, "Mr. Great, the mothership has an issue." And so Mr. Great says, "Well, have you done this? Have you done that?" And yeah, we've tried, Mr. Great. We have tried. And I was feeling stressed. One of our passengers on board, he really needed our help. And Mr. Great, he just stepped up to the plate, walked right up there. He looked at it, felt it, he touched it, it around, began tapping. Tap, tap, tap. Then he touched it again. He spun it around another way. He listened. He felt it. Just that, I don't know, some tribal knowledge in his fingers. And tap, 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 tap. And boom, he turned around, walked out. Alexander the Great still has never lost a battle. I looked at him. I said, "I want to cry." Because he had just passed down a little bit of that knowledge to me. And instantly, I just knew that rule number 2 was here. So passengers, before you go back to bed, Joshua, I know you just woke up. He's got his coffee. Already time to go back to sleep until next week. I'm going to give you the second rule, and that is find the right solution. Because something's broke, you got to fix it. And you can be spending hours and hours and hours trying to fix your problem. And really, you just need to know the right way. And so, even if the solution is terrifying, even if it might be, you got to walk up to Mr. Great, ask for help. Sometimes the solution is terrifying, and you just got to do it. Just go ask for help, because that's why we're here. That's why we're here, to help you guys get these photos. So thanks for hanging with us, passengers. We are still flying fast, and we will be here next week. We're going to see Star Hunter get some photos tomorrow. I'll be with him and 7 or 8 other 10 and 11-year-olds, and we'll all be looking up at the sky, and I'll be trying to get them to board the ship as well. So guys, before I sign out, I just want to say lastly, to my main man out there, you all might know him as Nauto. We talked about him on a previous show. Just want to say, dude, quit trying to make me give away the ending. We are trying to foreshadow here. We are foreshadowing where we're going. So Nauto, it's going to be a great event, but I can't tell them yet, bud. We'll see you all soon.
Okay, but before you go, I did finally get Beatrice her
yes.
file. Okay, so I'm going to share this right now. And she is complaining about rings around her stars. Okay, so this is it.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Now, I guess if I look really close, and Beatrice has got to be pixel peeping at this point. Okay. Let's just put it this way, Beatrice. If I had this, I might have to go to the emergency room, after having a mild heart attack because the image is so awesome. Okay.
Awesome.
You have tiny little galaxies all over the place in this shot. All this interstellar stuff, medium, it's just incredible stuff. But I see this blue halo around this one star here. What do you guys think?
I only see it around that one star and maybe on some of the bigger stars.
Now I see effects from diffraction spikes. Okay, you can see that.
So Beatrice, I think what
I don't see a lot to complain about on this image.
Yeah.
That's
what happens. That's what happens.
Now, in order to display this, Beatrice, I did take it from the 32-bit file and go down to 16-bit. I didn't do any more image processing. Okay. The background sky does look a little bit darker when you do that, because I don't have the range that you were getting at 32-bit. But that's what I'm coming up with.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Beatrice, what I would say is, the blue is, when you're going to get that halo, it is often in that blue color. And I can't explain to you why. I just know that a lot of the times, blue is where you're going to get your halo. And so if you're using a monochrome camera, you can make your blue exposure shorter. I don't know if there's more light pollution in the blue channel. I know that some of these RGB filters have narrowed the blue channel. They've separated it further from the green.
Some leak around. Yeah, depends. Also, you can get halo effects from filters from optical windows, that kind of thing. You can get halo effects from the reflections near the in the camera adapter itself. I'm always recommending that people take some flat black paint and paint the interior of anything that you see shiny, especially near the sensor. It's an inexpensive way to really increase contrast, without trying to throw a lot of money at it or spending hours and hours trying to process it out. So,
yeah, Beatrice, it's a bright star, and that is a challenge that I know Joshua and I both face. I was
going to say, if Beatrice is referring to the rings, like if you look at the stars in front of the galaxy here, like that are on the galaxy, I can kind of see some darker rings around there. That's why I'm telling you, get Star Exterminator. Okay, it could honestly be StarNet. I had that a lot with my with some of my data. If I used StarNet and I added the stars back, I would have artifacts. So
I get a lot of rings too when the stars are in the nebula or in the galaxy like that. It's really hard.
Look at this. There's faint galaxies all over
Yeah.
here, all
Yeah,
in
little,
between these
little fuzzies
stars.
all over the
They're
place.
just everywhere, you know. So
Yeah,
it's beautiful up
Beatrice,
here.
come
Yeah,
on the
this is a
show
great
next week,
image.
Beatrice. We need you.
Yeah, that's right.
Great.
Yeah, I think Beatrice is a little shy, but your work definitely is nothing to be shy about. So
It is
Yeah, it's
awesome.
really
Yes,
amazing.
thank you, Beatrice. We are trying to get I'll go ahead and say we are trying to diversify up this crew, and we are trying to get a lady to come on. Her name is Astro Mom. And she's going to be on in a week or two. So we are going to get our first Astro Mom to show some pictures, and I'm super excited about that. She's from the UK, and it'll be a lot of fun. When she's here.
all right, sounds great. You guys, thank you very much. Joshua, thank you for coming on at such a crazy time for you.
Hey, it's all right.
But it was
Thank you
a
guys for
real
having me.
pleasure, and we look forward to seeing you on the show again.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah. thank you
And
guys
good
for
night.
having
You
me.
guys all have a great weekend. Before I let you go, be sure to tune in tomorrow at 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 1 p.m. New Zealand time, because we're going to have the 45-degree star party with the
Okay.
Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, the Montreal Center, and the Royal Astronomical Society of New Zealand. So both at 45 degrees latitude, north and south. So
That's
daytime
awesome.
and nighttime. It's going to be awesome. So we will see you tomorrow. And thanks for tuning in, and keep looking up.
See you, Josh.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Thank you guys for having me so much. It was nice.
You were great, dude.
Yeah.